The thing is, though, I want to know is what was it like to get that phone call? It's like to say, it's like, yo, oh yeah, by the way, guess what? You're gonna be the opening act for Bone Thugs and Harmony. That must have been like, you must have been just like going, okay, is this a prank?
Well, the funny story about that is I actually turned down the show when I first got offered it because I already had a show at the Agora this weekend with my dude Stitches from Miami. He's on tour right now, and I'm going to open up for him. But then we decided, we could make a hell of a lot of money if we do this Bone Thug show because everybody wants tickets. And also people kept asking me for them, so it's like, why would I pass up that chance to make $500? I'm going to just call the show this weekend a music video shoot, and then next weekend will be our Agora performance. I mean, obviously we'll perform while the video is being shot, but it gives us a whole new reason to go there. So I called my man Bundy back at Peabody's, the Agora. He used to work at Peabody's. He works at the Agora now.
Yeah.
And he told me I could still get on it, and he's a great dude. He's been hooking me up with all my shows at the Agora and Peabody's since I started a year ago. That was my first show, was at Peabody's.
Nice. Nice. It's like, actually think it's like, I remember I still to this day like read Scene magazine. I think it's like, yeah, I actually did see I think like there was a lot of your shows were actually like listed in there.
Yeah, we had a full page flyer in there for a show me and him did together last July.
Yeah, I remember reading that. Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's like I remember that though. It's like, because that was one of the cool things about like Peabody's is you look at like a lot of the local acts, and there would literally be local acts, and then there'd be the established acts. You'd get like heavy metal, hip hop, all of them in there, and then you'd see like, it's like, and oh yeah, and by the way, we have these guys here. Come check them out. Come support them. And it would be, and I think like, yeah, a couple of times it's like I've actually seen like DJ Left Coast is like actually listed in there. It's like a few times. So yeah.
The majority of my shows will be listed under the name Koda Kapo because that's my rap name. But yeah. I also do some DJ events, just not as often.
Yeah, I remember. But I do. I still remember actually seeing a few of those. I'm like, who is this guy? Like, I didn't know years later I'd actually end up sitting next to you in class.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've been forgetting to go to that class for a couple weeks now. But
it's like, yeah, oddly enough, you go in there now, he's just gonna think you're actually been there the whole time. He's like, it's.
Yeah, but
Vicodin does funny things to the mind.
speaking on Peabody's, before we get off the subject, I really missed that place. That was a breeding ground for great independent music, and it really gave local bands and independent bands who were on the road and trying to book shows a great chance to perform for an audience because they would let them open up for major label groups that are already established nationally, sometimes even worldwide. And it's a beautiful thing. Like, our first show was with Chip the Ripper. He's also from Cleveland, but he was already established, and he's on a major record label. So when we came through, the building was packed, and that was our first time performing. Nobody knew we were going to be there.
Yeah, I remember my brother actually used to tell me stories about that, and I'm kind of sad I didn't actually get to go to Peabody's and see that. But yeah, that's one of those places that people they kind of kick themselves a little bit. They're like, oh man, I probably should have went. And it's like every time somebody had wanted me to go there for like a party or something. So yeah, that was one of those great places. I mean,
I used to practically live there back when I was in a metal band. I would go see the rock bands and the hardcore shows and the screamo groups like 3-4 times a week, and I think I spent more time there than I did at my house back in high school.
Nice. All right, it's like it's like that's actually pretty cool though. It's like I pretty soon somebody's gonna have to look at it and just say, you know what? It's like we have these local bands, we have these local artists. We have all these people. We need the venues again. That's like, cause that was like one of those places. Is like everybody said, oh yeah, it's like I was at this killer show at like Peabody's. It's like they were promoting this mixtape. They had everybody that was on the tape there, plus a few other people that just decided to show up and perform. It's like, and that was one of the cool things about it. And it was not just hip hop. It was, like you said, it was hardcore, it was grindcore, it was metal, it was rock. You had a few pop acts that showed up every now and again, but it was one of those places where if you wanted to go from like playing the small places to like being kind of pretty much noticed by a lot of people, that's where you went, was Peabody's.
Yeah, and they had the nightclub upstairs, so you never know. Like, there could be a record label executive or an A&R or just somebody famous who could help
Oh, yeah.
you network like extremely well, sitting there on the couch at the balcony watching your performance on the main stage downstairs, and you can't even see them.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's like a few people that I actually think is like actually got signed from performing. They actually performing in the club that was upstairs in Peabody's. Yeah.
Yeah, my homie sitting behind you holding the camera, back when his band played there, an executive from Lightning Rock Records in Akron came up and said he liked their music so much, he offered them a free weekend of recording in their studio, and that's how they made their demo.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, but like I said, it's one of those things that people really needs to like happen again. It's like somebody's going to look at it and say, you know what? I remember when Peabody's was a great place to do it. Why don't they just go ahead and like build another one? It's like, and somebody will end up doing it.
I mean, there is a good, like, at least 100 concert venues within an hour from here, but none of them are really as open to brand new music as Peabody's was. They would give anybody a chance. Like,
Yeah, I know. I think the the Fantasy, the Foundry, and the Lounge is are just pretty much they try. That's all I can say is they kind of try.
I've performed at all three of those places within the last 6 months, at least twice each.
Yeah, it's like I still love the fact is like if you go up to the Fantasy, there's a pirate ship for the DJ booth. It's like
That's fucking awesome.
I
My
went up
bad, I
there.
didn't mean to-
My brother went up there
Sorry.
for a gig that he did. And it was to promote a mixtape, and it was a friend of his that he worked with also did promotions for him. And he went, and I went up there, and I was like, I'm like, okay, what kind of club is this? And we go upstairs, and there's a pirate ship. Part of it's the DJ booth. The other part is this little VIP area with a little where you could actually just close the windows off. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's actually kind of cool.
You know why that is because the DeFrasia family, who owns the Fantasy and the Symposium and the theater under it, it used to be a restaurant. And when they first bought it, the guy who built it sunk like over $100,000 into replicating that famous ship to put it in the middle of the restaurant. And then when they made it into a concert venue, they cut the ship in half, and they put the DJ booth and soundboard and stuff in one half, and then the other half they started doing weddings and shit in. And people actually get married up there sometimes. And
Nice.
And yeah, it's a great concert venue now, but you can still tell when you go in there, it looks like a restaurant.
Yeah, but it's pretty cool though. It's like so yeah. I mean, to be honest, is like there are like very few like venues is like that people perform at anymore. I mean, it's like especially when like you're starting to get like even like when you start to get further east from Cleveland, there's not a lot of places. I mean, they're actually at. I used to talk to my dad, and he used to talk about places that they used to have bars is like in taverns where they would have a stage is like about the size of like a regular concert hall stage, and you go there and you see like a lot of bands play. You see like 5-6 bands playing. It's like sometimes on a Monday, and they'd have a packed house. It's like, and now you can't see that anymore.
We've done a number of shows at local bars and taverns and restaurants, and there's upsides and downsides to it. Like you said, the upside is it's more intimate, so even if there's only 50 people in there, the room is packed. And that's awesome because, you have a fraction of the people you have in a theater and you still feel like you're rocking a crowd. But at the same time, you can't fit more than 50 to 100, sometimes 200 people in a tavern or a bar or a restaurant or whatever. So it really limits the amount of money you can make on that show. And chances are they're not looking to buy talent anyways. Like you said, they just want local people to have a spot to play. And
Yeah.
it is dying out, unfortunately, because they're not making much money on it, and people are just going to enjoy the music and buy alcohol. And the bars who can afford to have a great liquor and beer selection, those are the people who are still doing it. Like the Cove, they're going to let people come perform independently.
Yeah.
Because they can pack the room with 50 or 100 people that'll all go buy drinks at the bar, and that's what makes it worth it.